Yeah. So, good afternoon, OMS. Please unmute. Yeah.
Good afternoon. Yeah.
Yeah. So, dear participant, it is our great privilege. We today session afternoon session we are going to start. Professor Dr. Mr. Malsawmtluanga, he is a assistant registrar. Many years he is looking Mizoram University establishment section. More than almost 10 years he was in charge of the establishment section and looking all the rules regulations of the university. So today he is going to talk about the rules and regulations for the our service condition as a teacher, because he is dealing that aspect. So he is a best man to deal with such type of the queries. This service related matter is very important for all of us, because we are part of the higher education system, and many times knowingly and unknowingly we did little mistakes which create a lot of problem individually for us as well as our administration. So today this by this lecture he is going to address all the possible such type of the things, leave rule and other the rules related to our service as a teacher. So on the behalf of the HRDC, sir, I welcome you in the 6th FIP program, and there is a total 54 participants. They are from different states, more than 10 states we covered in this FIP. They are different states. From Mizoram, I think only we have 7 or 8 participants. Maximum are from outside. So it is a great time for us to learn about the rules and regulations related to our service matter. With this, I welcome you and handing over the session for your lecture.
Okay. Thank you very much, Professor Manoj Verma. And it is always a great privilege for me to share my experience with the HRDC program or any similar interactions like this. Um, we've all learned through experience, and it is mainly on the basis of my experience in the establishment section of Mizoram University that I am invited. And so I'll try my best to share my experience and whatever I feel will be basically important, having some important issues, some considerations to be um, taken care of by the teachers. So it will not be possible to go in depth, but at least we'll try to explain or discuss some of the basic issues which I think we should know. And we may be from various institutions and other state governments also. So some of the topics we are going to discuss may not be relevant to you as of now, because some facilities like the LTC facilities and maybe other facilities are not extended in some states. In any case, we will try to explain a little bit of about our pay, leave travel concession, which we call LTC in short, and the general leave rules, and the UGC regulations 2018, under which we will also briefly touch upon the career advancement scheme. And if we have time, I would also like to share some insight on the pay fixation also, because this is where most of the teachers used to face issues while exercising option. So I'll share my slide.
Yeah, it is visible, sir.
Okay.
Yeah, and moving also. Yeah.
So now we will now start our presentation. So in the middle of the presentation or at any point of time, if you have any questions, you can raise whatever queries you have, or Professor Varma may also highlight any such queries which I might have missed. So all the participants are they are very much welcome to ask questions or share whatever they feel, which is in connection to the topics today. So the matter we are going to discuss is matter relating to services of teachers. And let us first discuss about the pay. Without a pay, I think none of us will go or will enter the services which we are now doing as a teacher. So without pay, for most of us, it is not possible to share or spare our services to the government or to the public. So it is a very important component, and pay is a compensation for your service. The state government might have a separate pay commission, and we will also discuss about the pay matrix and what are the general components or the basic components of your salary. We might have already known that the exercise of pay revision, which we call Central Pay Commission. And on the basis of the Central Pay Commission, most state governments also adopted as it is, or in a manner which they feel sufficient, or in a manner which they feel is all right for their employees. Most state governments used to adopt the Central Pay Commission. What our experience told us is that the exercise of pay revision is done every 10 years by the central government. And as we can see, the first Central Pay Commission was constituted in between 1946-47, second CPC during 1957 to 1959. Likewise, we have the sixth CPC during 2006 to 2008. And the seventh CPC, the commission was functioning during the 2014-15 years. And that seventh CPC was effective from 1st January 2016. So then if things are smoothly running, maybe we can expect the 8th Central Pay Commission in the near future also. And the expectation is that it will be effective again from 1st January 2026. So as we can see that the Pay Commission require some 2-3 years to complete their task assigned to them. So in some cases, as we can see, it is the Pay Commission was constituted before the due date, before the expected date of the Pay Commission. But in some cases, it can also be during or a little bit after the expected date of the Pay Commission, like the 6th CPC. Although it was effective from 1st January 2006, the Pay Commission was constituted only in 2006, and they functioned during those 2 years period, 2006 to 2008. But in 7th CPC, we can see that the Pay Commission was constituted well before the effective date of the 7th CPC. In almost all the Central Pay Commission, we used to see slight variation in how they attempt to compensate the government in the manner of compensation of the employees. So in the seventh CPC, what we can see is now there is a pay matrix, which is a matrix with levels of pay arranged in vertical cells as assigned to corresponding existing pay band and academic grade pay. And there are slight variations depending upon the services. There are civilian pay matrix, the defense pay matrix, and the academic pay matrix. The academic pay matrix is the pay matrix developed by the UGC. Of course, it was approved by the ministry, the concerned ministry, and subsequently by the finance ministry. But there are slight variations in this pay matrix. So we have to know that the civilian pay matrix, which is used by the civilian employees like the central services, and those employees are slightly different from the defense pay matrix, which is used by the armies and similar services. Likewise, the academic pay matrix for teachers, it is different from those two pay matrix also. So this is a sample of what we can see in the academic pay matrix. UGC is following this pay matrix, and state governments in most likelihood might adopt this pay matrix for their college teachers and university teachers. In the first row, what we see is the pay band, which is the pay band of the previous pay commission. That is the 6th CPC. There are 3 different pay bands, 15,600 to 39,100. And there are 3 grade pay within that band. Those are the academic grade pay 6,000, 7,000, and 8,000. And so there are 2 AGP for associate professor and professor separately. And the last one we see is 67,000 to 79,000. That is what we used to call the higher administrative grade, HAG. And here the in the 6th CPC, what we used to know, 6,000 AGP is now called level. And specifically for teachers, we used to identify this as academic level and not simply as level. So there are academic levels 10, which is the entry grade. Academic level 11 is stage 2. Academic level 12 is stage 3. All these 3 stages are designated as assistant professor. And there is the academic level 13A, which is associate professor. Academic level 14 is professor. And the academic level 15 is what we now call senior professor. And there are various, so each entry is called cell. And each columns are represent the level. So as we can see that the rationalized entry pay for academic level 10 is 57,700. So at the initial appointment, this will be the pay fixation for assistant professor. And when he completed 1 year, that is at the first instance of annual increment, his pay will be increased to 59,400. And likewise, after 2 years, it will be increased to 61,200 and so on. So I think we more or less generally now understood the pay matrix since it's already in operation for almost 4 or 5 years now. This is the pay slip or the pay certificate, which we are now using in Mizoram University. Whatever your institution follows might have a slight variation from this. But in any case, generally the components of your emoluments will be basic pay and DA, DA, which is the dearness allowance. TA is the transport allowance. HRA is the house rent allowance. SDA is only for northeastern region or some remote places. So SDA and this SCA they are mainly enjoyed by those employees serving in the northeastern region, or in some cases Ladakh region and other remote places identified by government. So those who are serving in the plain areas in the central region of India, some of these allowances might not be applicable. NPA, it's the non-practicing allowance, which will be applicable to the doctors, like that. So the basic pay and other allowances will constitute your total emoluments. And there will also be mandatory deductions from your pay. So there can be slight variation depending upon your organization. NPS contribution will be applicable especially for fresh employees, whether they are now under state governments or central governments. But since recently we have what we know is that some state governments have now started implementing the old pension scheme, like in Punjab and some other states. So for them, it will be the old system once again. And for those who are paying the NPS contribution, the mandatory deduction is 10%. So that 10% is calculated from your basic pay plus dearness allowance. This may not be known by some of the employees who are covered by the NPS. So please know that your NPS contribution, the mandatory contribution, is 10% of your basic pay plus dearness allowance. It is not only the basic pay. So your components of emoluments can be classified generally like this. Your basic pay is your pay drawn in the prescribed level in the pay matrix. And the basic pay increase once in a year, either on 1st January or 1st July, depending upon your date of next increment. So it is important to always remember your DNI, which we call date of next increment. Many teachers don't know on which date they used to get their annual increment. So you will get your annual increment either on 1st January or 1st July. So it is not difficult to remember which date is your DNI, but it can be either 1st January or 1st July. And what will happen during your, if you are taking leave during your date of increment? So suppose my increment date is 1st July, and I am on regular leave. I am taking, let's say, earned leave on 1st July. Then if I am on leave during that increment date, increment will not be immediately granted to me. Suppose I joined on 5th July, then the increment will be effective from 5th July. So if you are taking leave on the date of your increment, the benefit will not be immediately given to you. So as far as possible, it is best to avoid taking regular kinds of leave on the day of your increment. But it is not the disadvantage is not permanent. As soon as you join back your organization, it will be uh, immediately effective from the date of your joining itself. So dearness allowance. This dear, as we might have assumed, it's a British English meaning expensive or at a high cost. So our everyday items like our consumer prices like pulse, vegetables, milk, fruits, salt, sugar, clothing, even pan, supari, and tobacco are included, taken care of by this dearness allowance. And the household goods and maybe some expenses on your movies. These rates are collected from 88 centers all over India. And this rate is collected by the Labor Bureau, Ministry of Labor and Employment, Government of India. It is compiled by this organization. And on that basis, All India Consumer Price Index for industrial workers is worked out every month on a monthly basis. So the increase in your dearness allowance is twice in a year, on 1st January and 1st July. Although it is calculated on a monthly basis, government is not extending this increase on a monthly basis, but instead it granted this increment twice, on January 1st and 1st July. So as a government employee, generally we used to be very happy when the DA rate is high or when the increase in the DA rate is high. But technically that high increase in the DA is due to inflation or the high consumer prices. So high DA rate may not always be desirable, because whatever we have to spend for from our salary, it means that it will also increase. And the other components of your salary is the transport allowance. And the rate is for level 9 and above, it is 7,200 plus your DA rate. That is for 19 cities, 19 metro cities. And for all other cities or places, it is rupees 3,600 plus DA. For physically disabled employees, the transport allowance is granted at double the normal rates. And this transport allowance is not admissible for calendar months wholly covered by leave. So if you are only from 1st March to 31st March, you will not get any transport allowance. It will be deducted from your salary by your institution. So, but let's say that you are taking leave from 10th April to 25th March, 25th May. We can say we know that it's more than 30 days, but that leave is not covering any calendar months wholly. It's partly covered April and it's partly covered May. Although the days may be more than 30 days, transport allowance will not be deducted under such cases, because the rule specifically stated that the leave should cover calendar months. So it's important to know before taking leave that there can be in some cases where your fellow colleagues is taking leave in the number of days which is more than your leave, but transport allowance is not deducted in his case. But in your case, transport allowance may be deducted. So it's important to note this, whether your leave is covering entire calendar months. And the other important components of your emoluments is the house rent allowance. There are three categories of cities. Class X cities are what we call metro cities. Class Y cities are where population of the city is 5+ lakhs. And Z class categories are those cities with population less than 5 lakhs. And for those three categories of cities, the house rent allowance rate is different. For Class X cities, the present rate is 27% of your basic pay. For Class Y cities, it is 18%. For Class Z cities, it is 9%. And this will be automatically increased to 30%, 20%, and 10% respectively, as soon as the dearness allowance crosses 50%. And although the classification is on the basis of population, cities with more population does not necessarily reflect how expensive the house rent is. So in my personal opinion, although we are not in a position to suggest at this stage whether classification of cities on the basis of population is justified for granting house rent allowance. This can be questionable, because like in the northeastern areas, although the cities we have here are generally less populated in comparison with other cities in the central India, but due to transportation problems and geographical difficulties and other issues, the cost of construction in the northeastern region in some cases can be much higher than those in the plain areas. So the high cost of construction will mean the high cost of house rent. Therefore, in some cases, in respect of some cities, the house rent allowance, whatever is extended by government, it may not be justified, or it may not be able to cover whatever house rent expenses he have to incur on a monthly basis. So when the 8-pay commission is constituted by the government, there may be chances from the employee's side to express our grievances and representations. So house rent allowance may be one of the identifiable areas regarding which may be genuine or relevant for the pay commission for their consideration. So SDA is the special duty allowance, and it is at the rate of 10% of your basic pay for serving in the northeastern region and Ladakh. And similar to the transport allowance, it is not admissible for period of leave or training or tour beyond full calendar months if employee is outside northeastern region and Ladakh. So you may be on leave or training or tour in the northeastern region or Ladakh, then the special duty allowance will still be extended to you. But during your leave period or training or tour, which is beyond full calendar months, if you are traveling outside northeastern region and Ladakh, special duty allowance will not be granted to you. And SCA is the special compensatory remote locality allowance. And although this is not specifically under the coverage of the Seventh Pay Commission, but the government allowed us to enjoy this benefit at the old rate of 6 PC, and the existing rate is 2,250. And in the Seventh Pay Commission, what we have seen is that tough location allowance is introduced, and that tough location allowance cannot be extended along with SDA. So those are the main components of your salary. If there is any queries on this topic, I think we may raise. Okay, it seems there is no queries at this stage. Now we will go to the leave travel concession, LTC. As I have discussed in the beginning, this facility may not be extended to the employees in some cases, like state governments, due to fund availability. But central government employees enjoy the leave travel concession. And if you have this facility, you should definitely avail, because you never know when this facility will be stopped. It can be stopped at any time. It is not your right to have this entitlement. So government can stop this facility at any time. So while you can enjoy it, I think that it will be good to sometimes enjoy leave travel concession facility with your family or yourself for visiting some places in India or maybe your hometown also. So LTC is a facility for government servant and his family members to visit hometown or any place in India wherein transportation is paid by government. So government will pay only the cost of your transportation. It will not pay your expenditure, like your personal expenditure or the cost of your hotel stay. Those things will not be paid by government, but the transportation from place A to B, like depending upon your entitlements, your airfare or the train fare will be facilitated by the government. And any employee with 1 year of continuous service on the date of journey performed by him or his family are eligible. So you have to complete 1 year of continuous service on the date of journey. Spouse and two surviving unmarried children, wholly dependent, irrespective of whether residing with the government servant or not. So your spouse, as well as two surviving unmarried children who are wholly dependent. So your surviving unmarried children should be wholly dependent on you. If they are not wholly dependent on you, then they are not eligible to travel under this facility. Married daughters who are divorced or widowed daughters residing with and wholly dependent. So such kinds of married daughters, they should be wholly dependent as well as they should reside with you. As we can see just in the previous point, the two surviving unmarried children, they should be wholly dependent, but they need not necessarily have to stay with you. They may be staying in different areas, in different parts of India, where you are staying in another headquarter. But if they are wholly dependent on you, then they will be eligible But your married daughters who are divorced or widowed daughters, they have to be wholly dependent, as well as they have to be residing with you. And your parents who are wholly dependent, irrespective of whether residing with the government servant or not. So your parents, if they are wholly dependent, they may be staying with you or they are not staying with you. They can enjoy this facility. The unmarried minor brothers and unmarried or divorced or widowed sisters residing with and wholly dependent. So those conditions, wholly dependent, it's a general condition. It's common for all. But whether residing with the government servant or not, it is different for different types of relationships. It is important to know this. So there are some important features in the LTC facility. Hometown, once declared, is final. So at the time of joining your organization, you will have to declare your hometown for the purpose of LTC. So you have to be careful with this because hometown, once you declared, will be considered as final in almost all cases. But there is an exception. It can be changed once during your entire service. So if the competent authority is satisfied that you have to change your hometown, like there can be cases where at the time of joining your service, you are declaring this hometown, but after that, you are permanently staying somewhere else. You are buying a flat there in some places. Then under those circumstances, changing of hometown is normally allowed. And this LTC facility can be availed during vacation. And if you are availing during vacation, that vacation is treated as leave for the purpose of LTC. So you need not take leave separately. If the period during which your LTC travel is done is during vacation, so that vacation will be treated as leave for the purpose of LTC. And during the period of childcare leave, LTC can be availed. And as we can see, it's covered the air, train, or steamer fare, but the accommodation expenses in the hotel or other similar places will not be covered by the reimbursement. And journey by road is to be performed in vehicles operated by government when available. It is possible that the place you would like to visit under this facility, there is no flight or there is no train. So journey by road is unavoidable, let's say. As long as government vehicles is available, you have to perform your travel by that government operated vehicle. So you will be allowed to be reimbursed only in such cases where government operated vehicles are not available. Only under those cases, reimbursement will be allowed. So as long as a government operated vehicle is available, you have no other choice but to travel or to use that facility. And the intended place of visit is to be declared in advance. And there are cases where your place of visit, where the declared place of visit needed to be changed. That have to be done before you start your start of your journey, and it has to be intimated before commencement of the outward journey. Employees whose headquarters and hometown are same are not eligible for hometown LTC. And your leave salary, maximum 10 days at a time, maximum 60 days during your entire service can be encashed for the purpose of LTC, but your leave encashment will not be permitted if your leave balance at credit is less than 30 days. So if you are applying, or if you are intending to apply for a leave encashment, you have to make sure that you have at least 30 days of balance at your credit. And as per rules, advance up to 90% of the estimated fare can be taken. And claim for reimbursement have to be submitted within 1 month from the date of return of journey. So don't delay it. If you are traveling, or if you are availing the LTC facility, submit your original bills quickly without any delay. And the rules clearly stated that disciplinary action is to be taken for misuse of LTC. So you will not be pardoned if you misuse your LTC. There can be cases where you are not traveling, but you are showing fake bills and receipts like that for claiming refund or reimbursement. Then you will not be pardoned, because as per rules, disciplinary action has to be taken before for misuse of your LTC. So there is one query from the participant. If the DNI is on holiday or in weekend, what will happen? Will the increment be considered from that day or from the next working day? So this is the previous topic. So that delay in granting the increment is only with respect to regular kinds of leave. Please note it is only with respect to regular kinds of leave. If there is a holiday or weekend like Saturday or Sunday, which are not working day in some cases, Sunday is not working day in almost all cases. Saturday, it depends upon the organization, whether they are following it, a 5-day week or 6-day working week. So it may not be a holiday in some cases. But in any case, if you are not availing any regular kinds of leave, if 1st January or 1st July is Saturday or Sunday or any kinds of closed holiday, DNI, your increment will be effective from that day itself, irrespective of whether it's a holiday or not. So let's continue with the LTC. Family members can visit the same place or different places. Your parents might choose to visit Delhi, and your brothers or sisters or your sons, they can visit Chennai. So different places can be visited by your family members under the same LTC, under the same block. And family members can also travel in one or more batches. Some may go in January, some may go in February. So they need not travel at the same time. Different batches is allowed as long as it is within the same block. Family members can travel in the same calendar year or different calendar years within the same block. I think this is clear. So LTC block year, will go through the LTC block year, which is a 2-year block for travel to hometown for self and family. The earlier block was 2018 to 2021, which consists of 2018, 2019, 2020, and 2021. It is important to note that LTC to any place in India is admissible in lieu of one of the 2 journeys to hometown for self and family. So there are, as per rules, LTC is for hometown, for visiting hometown, not to anywhere in India. So during one 4-year block, true hometown LTC is made available to you. But at the same time, the rule allows that in lieu of one hometown LTC, visit to any place in India can be applied. And for single government servant or for those who want to enjoy for themselves only, LTC to hometown for self every year is admissible, but they will have to forego hometown LTC with family and hometown to any place in India with their family. And there is a grace period while availing the leave travel concession. We are now in the 2022 to 2025 block. Now the year is 2023. 2022 to 2023 is one hometown block. And if I am not in a position to avail during this block year or up to 31st December of this year, then I can avail this hometown block during the next year from 1st January up to 31st December also. So 1 year grace period is available for those who are not in a position to avail the benefit during the particular block year. If there is any queries regarding LTC, we may raise it. Okay, then LTC for most state government employees, since it is not applicable, then there might not be that interest here. And so let's go to leave rules. Leave cannot be claimed as a matter of right. It is very important. You may have leave at your credit in abundance, but that does not mean that you can claim it as a matter of your right. Your authority may refuse or revoke leave of any kind, but it is important to note this one, it cannot alter the kind of leave due and applied for. You are applying for earned leave. Your authority, on the basis of genuine reasons, your authority can refuse, or while you are already enjoying your leave, he can call back. But at the same time, whatever leave you applied for, on his own, your authority cannot alter to another kinds of leave. So conversion of one kind of leave into leave of different kind is permissible. Maybe you are now availing earned leave, but later on you want to convert it, or you find it more beneficial to you, or for any other genuine reasons, you want to convert it to commuted leave or any other kinds of leave, even casual leave. You will be allowed to convert one kinds of leave into a different kind of leave. No leave of any kind can be granted for a continuous period exceeding 5 years. So up to 5 years, the leave granting authority can grant, but any kinds of leave which will be continuous for a period exceeding 5 years, it can be granted only by the President of India. An official on leave should not take up any service or employment without prior approval. You may be availing some kinds of a longer period of leave like study leave or sabbatical leave as per rules. But if you are going to take up employment during that period, you have to take prior approval from your authority. So don't take up any service. Any service can be, it may be even without regular kinds of service, but by there may be a chance to do some service with which you are going to be paid. Then it's better to take prior approval of your authority before taking up any such service or employment. So the leave due and admissible can be refused or revoked with justification. In most cases, this should not be done without justification. So, but your authority can refuse or revoke your leave due and admissible with proper justification. So these are the kinds of leave which are generally granted to teachers or which are generally available to the teachers: casual leave, special casual leave, and duty leave. Study leave and sabbatical leave, earned leave, half pay leave and commuted leave, extraordinary leave, leave not due, maternity leave, paternity leave, and child care leave. It may not be possible to know all the kinds of leave in detail, but at least it will be beneficial to you if you know what are the kinds of leave or under what circumstances you can avail these kinds of leave. Casual leave, special casual leave, and duty leave are the three kinds of leave which are granted to the teachers. And during this period, you are treated as on duty. So technically, you are not absent from your duty while you are availing these kinds of leave: casual leave, special casual leave, and duty leave. These are the leave treated as duty. Casual leave is 8 days in an academic year. Depending upon your institution, it can be calendar year also. Special casual leave, as per the UGC regulation, it is 10 days in an academic year. Like I said, like casual leave, it can also be calendar year, depending upon your institution. And the while availing special casual leave, the actual days of travel is to be excluded from special casual leave. If I am going to Delhi for by availing special casual leave to attend maybe some conferences or some academic programs, then I need 1 day for transportation, for journey to and fro, 1 day for going there, and another 1 day for coming there after the program is over. And those 2 days will be excluded from the 10 days available to me during the year. One question arises which is not directly related to the topics we are discussing today. That is rule for taking up research consultancy while being in service. Do we need to pay the overhead charges or administrative charges of such consultancy remuneration to our institution? So this will be specifically depending upon your institution. If your institution is having a decision or is having a rule that you should pay such and such charges, then you have to pay. But it can also be possible in some cases that your institution is not having any such kinds of charges. Then so this will be institution specific or institution dependent. Duty leave is 30 days in an academic year. Casual leave and special casual leave can be combined. But casual leave and special casual leave cannot be combined with any other kinds of leave. Then what is a combination of leave? Suppose you are taking casual leave on Monday, and on the next day you are taking special casual leave. So that Monday, Tuesday, casual leave, on Monday, special casual leave, on Tuesday. Those 2 days can be, those two kinds of leave can be taken together consecutively. But suppose you are going to, or you are intending to take earned leave from Wednesday onwards, immediately after the day of special casual leave. But that will not be allowed because casual leave and special casual leave cannot be combined with any other kinds of leave. So it will be important to know for teachers. Well, you can combine casual leave and special casual leave. Those two kinds of leave cannot be combined with other kinds of leave like earned leave, commuted leave, maternity leave, paternity leave, or any other kinds of regular leave like that. And attending the UGC HRDC course is to be treated as on duty as per the UGC instruction. So now we are also attending the UGC HRDC program under Mizoram University. If your institution is implementing that UGC instruction, you are not required to take any kinds of duty leave or special casual leave. You can just inform your authority and attend it. Earlier, teachers used to take duty leave, and in some cases, maybe special casual leave for such programs, depending upon the duration. But for those institutions who are implementing or who are following the UGC regulations, they are no longer required to take leave. Earned leave, half-pay leave, and commuted leave. These are the three kinds of leave which are earned by duty. So whether you are on duty or not, you will earn casual leave, special casual leave, and duty leave. It will be made available to you. But if you are not on duty, or if you are not attending duty, then this earned leave, half-pay leave, and commuted leave will not be granted to you, will not be given to you. Earned leave is calculated as 1/30th of your actual service, including vacation, plus 1/3 for duties performed during vacation. And all period of leave except casual leave, special casual leave, and duty leave is to be excluded for the earned leave computation. And at any point of time, earned leave should not be accumulated beyond 300 days. So after you have already accumulated 300 days, temporarily plus 15 days will be accumulated on 1st January and 1st July, but that accumulation is temporary. It cannot be permanently accumulated to your leave account. Half-pay leave is credited at the rate of 20 days for each completed year of service. If you join your service on 1st March, then on the next year of 1st March, half-pay leave of 20 days will be credited to your leave account. And the period of absence or leave does not affect your half-pay leave earned. During that 1 year period, maybe it's possible that you are on study leave for that 1 year period, but half-pay leave of the 20 days, half-pay leave will be credited to you still. Commuted leave can be granted 240 days during your entire service. It is granted on medical certificate. The amount due is half the amount of half-pay leave. A teacher taking leave on medical certificate will be permitted to return to duty only on production of medical certificate of fitness. So since there used to be confusions regarding commuted leave, we will slightly explain it. Medical certificate, then what is the medical certificate? It is important to note that commuted leave is granted on illness only, on illness of a particular employee. So you cannot take commuted leave for your spouse illness or your parents illness or your son's illness. Commuted leave can be applied and granted for your illness only. So if you are ill, then doctors, a qualified doctor have to certify that you are ill and you are taking, you are requiring leave of these many days for recovery or treatment of your illness. Then on that basis of medical certificate only, you can apply commuted leave. You cannot simply say that I am ill or I am not feeling well and I want to take commuted leave. So it has to be supported by a medical certificate. A doctor has to certify your illness in the form of medical certificate, and on the basis of that, commuted leave will be granted to you. And when you are going to join back your institution or your organization also, since the doctor had already specified that you require these many days for recovery or treatment, then without knowing that you are fully fit to join back your organization, your authority will not allow you to join back. So you need a medical certificate of fitness from the doctor that you are fit to join back your duty. So those two certificates are very important. It cannot, commuted leave cannot be granted, or you cannot resume your duty without that certificate. And as we have discussed in the previous slide, we can accumulate earned leave and other leave like half-pay leave, but there is no such separate accumulation of leave for commuted leave. We've already discussed that you are granted 20 days for each completed year of service in the form of half-pay leave. So that half-pay leave is deducted when you are taking commuted leave. If you are going to take 10 days commuted leave, then what will be the amount of half-pay leave deducted? It will be twice the number of days needed for commuted leave. If I am going to take 10 days commuted leave, then the actual half-pay leave deducted will be 20 days. So your half-pay leave accumulation will be reduced by 20 days if you are availing commuted leave for 10 days. So study leave and sabbatical leave, it's known by teachers. They are for special line of studies and research. As per the UGC regulations 2018, it is made clear that study leave is for assistant professor only, 5 years during the entire service, and not more than twice during your service. It can be taken twice. Twice does not mean that 5 years. So it can be taken 2 years in the first instance and 3 years in the second spell, like that. So total cannot be more than 5 years or 5 years during the entire service. And you cannot take it more than twice during your entire service. And a gap of at least 5 years in between two spells of study leave have to be there as per rules. And sabbatical leave, it's for associate professor and professor only. So associate professor and professor cannot take study leave. Likewise, assistant professor cannot take sabbatical leave. So sabbatical leave is 2 years during service and 1 year at a time. It cannot be more than 1 year at a time and 2 years, maximum of 2 years during your entire service. So there can be confusions or slight issues, since a gap of at least 5 years in between 2 spells of study leave have to be there. Nowadays, all PhD, those assistant professors who are not having PhD at the time of entry into service, they have to pursue PhD, for which they have to go for 6 months initially to attend the coursework. So then for that coursework, in most cases, they will be required to take study leave. And it's possible that they don't need another spell of study leave immediately, but maybe they suppose they would like to take study leave after another 1 year or another 2 years after collecting their data, their information. They can start at compilation and they are almost ready for the submission. And so it's possible that there are not 5 years have not elapsed from the first spell of that study leave, that is which he already took for attending the coursework. But in those cases, in Mizoram University, what we follow is that the coursework and the subsequent spell of study leave required for completion of that PhD, for which he already took coursework earlier, it will be counted as one spell, not as a separate spell. So although there are different kinds of instructions and rulings on leave, depending upon the genuineness, the leave granting authority or the head of your institution, they are allowed to have some the power to make some decisions, even if it does not abide by the rules 100%. So if there are genuine cases or genuine reasons, although there are some rules, authority or the institution, specific institution can lay down some rules for so that employees are not disadvantaged too much. Extraordinary leave and the leave not due. Extraordinary leave is granted when no other leave is admissible. And it's also possible to be granted if a teacher applies in writing. Extraordinary leave is always without pay and allowances. So if you are applying for extraordinary leave, it should be clear to you that you will not be given any pay or allowances. Leave not due. Leave not due, it actually means borrowing of your half-pay leave. And it is limited to half-pay leave that the teacher is likely to earn subsequently. And the leave not due is debited against half-pay leave that the teacher earns subsequently, and maximum of 300 days during service. Leave not due, in most cases, it's not required. So even if we don't know it in detail about the leave not due, I think it's okay, because in most cases, leave not due will not be required. But other kinds of leave discussed earlier, including extraordinary leave in this current slide, at some point of time, requirement might arise. So one query from the participant is that LTC facility and commuted leave is not permitted for aided institution 2F and 12B institution. Why difference when position is same? So this may be a state government specific, although I'm not sure from the question itself. But under central government instruction, I am not aware of any such specific rules regarding LTC and commuted leave not permitted for those aided institutions under UGC 2F and 12B. So if the applicant can make a copy of the order to me or to the course or to the MzU HRDC official, it will also be welcome, will be enlightening for me. I am very eager to see any such specific order is there. Why are not childcare leave allowed in state universities? I've already discussed state governments. Each state governments are authorized or they have the power to make their own rules. So even though childcare leave is a very important kinds of leave and for a good justifiable reason, it seems some state universities are finding it a little bit difficult to implement it. But these are state specific. From central government, there are no such instructions as childcare leave should not be allowed in state universities, such and such. So it is the employees in those institutions or in those states themselves that you have to go to the concerned authority regarding those benefits and facilities. Maternity leave, paternity leave, and child care leave. Maternity leave, it's for admissible. It's admissible for married or unmarried female employees with less than 2 surviving children. The duration is 180 days at a time. So the female employee can be married, or it can also, or that female employee can also be unmarried, but the rule allows them, whether they are married or unmarried, to avail the benefit of maternity leave. So the leave granting authority cannot, or the leave granting authority should not deny the maternity leave on the grounds that the female employee is not married. And we even don't know who is the father of that baby. Such questions need not arise. So if the female is pregnant and she delivered the baby, so she should be allowed to avail maternity leave of 180 days, whether she is married or unmarried. But maternity leave cannot be enjoyed in 2 spells. The employee cannot say that 90 days at a time will be availed and I will join my organization for like 30 days. In the next 90 days, I will be on maternity leave again. So it should be granted only in 1 spell. Oleh.
Hello, Puemis.
Yes, there is just some slight disturbance from my office, so
Okay, okay.
I'll share again.
Okay, okay, okay.
I think it's visible again.
Yeah, it
Yes.
is able.
Yes. So now let's go to paternity leave. And paternity leave it is admissible to male married employees with less than 2 surviving children, and 15 days during wife's confinement. It has to be applied up to 15 days before or up to 6 months from date of delivery. So from the expected date, 15 days from the expected date of delivery, paternity leave can be availed. Or even after delivery, the male employee can choose not to avail immediately. But as long as he availed up to 6 months from the date of delivery, paternity leave can be allowed. But unlike maternity leave, in the case of paternity leave, the male employee has to be married. So if the lady or the lady with which that male employee is having a baby, if that lady is not married to him, paternity leave cannot be availed. So like maternity leave, this paternity leave should also be availed in one spell. And childcare leave, so this may not be enjoyed in some state institutions and under some state governments. Childcare leave is 730 days during entire service, and it is admissible to women employees with minor children for taking care of 2 eldest children. It is also now extended to single male parents. They may be unmarried, widower, or divorcee employees. That 730 days is segregated into two equal 365 days. So for the first 365 days, the childcare leave can be availed with 100% of your leave salary with full benefit, that means. And for the next 365 days, it will be 80% of your leave salary. 20% of your salary will be deducted during the next half of 365 days. And minor for the purpose of childcare leave is below 18 years of age. And childcare leave have to be availed not less than 5 days at a time. For single female government servant, 6 spells in a calendar year. That is 6 times in a calendar year is allowed. But for single male parents, it should be limited to 3 spells. So the childcare leave have to be sanctioned as earned leave. Now we will go through the UGC regulations, the salient features of the UGC regulations 2018. So the full title is University Grants Commission Minimum Qualifications for Appointment of Teachers and Other Academic Staff in Universities and Colleges and Other Measures for the Maintenance of Standards in Higher Education Regulations 2018. And this regulation becomes effective from 18 July 2018, which is the date of notification in the official gazette. And as per this regulation, PhD degree is mandatory for assistant professor in universities from 1st July 2023. So from 1st July of this year, PhD degree will be mandatory qualification for assistant professor. Initially, the date was fixed at 1st July 2021, but due to pandemic, government has postponed implementation of this rule. And PhD degree has already been made a mandatory for appointment, including promotion under career advancement scheme to professor and associate professor. Earlier, till the 2010 UGC regulations, a teacher can be promoted to associate professor under career advancement scheme, even if that teacher is not having PhD degree. But now, in order for the appointment and promotion for a professor and associate professor, PhD degree is a mandatory qualification, and it will soon be a mandatory qualification for assistant professor also. So the UGC regulation 2018 covers CAS promotion criteria under CAS from various academic level 10 to academic level, from academic level 11 to level 12 to level 13A, level 14, level 15. These can all be seen from the UGC regulations. It's available in the UGC website. So it need not be, we need not go into the details. But at the same time, it's important to note that there are slight criteria or slight variations among college teachers and university teachers, even for the same promotion. So the requirement is slightly different. This is for academic level 11 through academic level 12. In most cases, at the initial level of promotion, performance assessment and completion of some courses and programs. Maybe this may be the reason why you are now also attending the our program under UGC HRDC, Mizoram University. The academic and research score, or the API score, is not the requirement at the initial stages in most cases. So for college teachers, academic and research score, or the API score, is a mandatory requirement only at the level of professor. Up to associate professor, there is no requirement of academic and research score. So as per rules, your CAS application has to be submitted within 3 months from the date of eligibility for promotion. If your date of promotion is 1st January, then from 1st October of the previous year onwards, you can submit your CAS application. So this 3 months rule means the meaning is in that way. It does not mean that you can submit in September, August, July, like that. But it should be within 3 months from the date of eligibility for promotion. The date of receipt in the office is a very significant date for your CAS. If an application is received after the due date of promotion, then the date of receipt in the office will be treated as new date of promotion. If a teacher applies for promotion and found not eligible, she can apply again only after 1 year. So you have to more or less know that you satisfy the minimum requirement before submission of your application. Otherwise, if the screening committee or the selection committee found that you are not eligible, then your date of promotion will be delayed by 1 year. So then the mandatory orientation courses and the refresher courses required are to be completed during the assessment period. You might have attended some OC or some RC before you joined service, or during your promotion from level 1 to level 2. But that will not be admissible for your promotion from level 2 to level 3. I think it is almost 3 o'clock now. And since option for pay fixation, although it is important, I feel, but this is a little bit advanced and will require some detailed deliberation. I think it may not be covered at this stage. And whatever we have covered, I think that may be enough for the time being, considering the time constraint.
Yeah. So, yeah. So now time is almost 3 o'clock. So we will stop here, sir. And
Okay.
I think some questions are there in middle. Sometimes I was not there. I don't know you take up this or not.
Yes, I think, yeah, whatever questions have been there in the chat and Q&A, I have
Yeah.
already attended all
Okay,
of them.
okay, okay.
Yes.
So I think then the things clear. So thank you so much. Sir. So thank you so much, QMS, for your
Yes.
valuable time being a administrator.